Alert, Commanders Nation. What's happening today could define the future of Washington. 3 news stories are setting the team on fire, and we can't just sit back. First, we're in the bye week with a record of 8-5, but it doesn't end here. There are names on this roster that are exploding and taking this team to another level, but let me tell you straight, the playoffs aren't guaranteed, and the margin for error is 0. Will this team handle the pressure, or are we seeing a mirage that could disappear at any moment? Second, we're wasting a gem in our offense. There's a player in a crucial position screaming for opportunities, cutting through defenses like a hot knife through butter. But what's going on? Why isn't the coaching staff using him more? This smells like a disaster in the making if we keep ignoring his potential, especially in this final stretch. Third, betrayal on the horizon? Our best defensive destroyer is being hunted by our most hated rival. Yes, the danger is real. If the front office doesn't act quickly, we could lose him to those disgusting green guys next season. Are we really willing to hand over our most lethal weapon? Ladies and gentlemen, Washington Commanders fans, listen up. We are in the bye week of the 2024 season, and let me tell you, the outlook for this team is simply impressive. Yes, 8 wins, 5 losses. Who in their right mind would have predicted this before the season started? Who? I tell you this now. This team has not only exceeded expectations, they have sent a clear and direct message to the entire NFL. The Commanders are here to fight. And let me give you a warning. Do not get complacent. Because although the Vince Lombardi might not be immediate, this team definitely has the talent, the structure, and the leadership to make noise in the playoffs. Whoever underestimates this team better be prepared, because we can turn off the lights for more than one in the NFC. Now, we are not just here to talk about records. No. We are here to talk about players who have not only raised their level, but have skyrocketed their value this season. And yes, we are going to break down the 4 names that are on every fan's lips. Mike Sainristil, Sheldon Day, Frankie Louvu, and Chris Rodriguez Jr. Let's get to the point. Mike Sainristil, the steal of the 2024 draft. First, let's talk about Mike Sainristil, the cornerback no one expected to become the future of our secondary. But here he is. And I ask, who saw such a phenomenon coming? I answer you, no one. This kid came out of Michigan, projected as a simple nickel in the NFL. And what happened? They threw him to the wolves, told him, go, cover the best receivers, because the depth chart of corners was in ruins. And the man did it. Want proof? He stopped A.J. Brown. Yes, the same A.J. Brown. He held him to 31 yards during the game against the Eagles. 31. Gentlemen, I tell you this. When you have a rookie achieving something like that, it's not luck, it's pure talent. Don't believe me? Well, Pro Football Focus doesn't lie, and his coverage in that game was rated an impressive 90.0. Since week 3, we have been seeing his impact, and he is still on the rise. Mike Sainristil is, to me, the cornerstone of our defense for the years to come. The question here is, how is it possible that this kid fell so low in the draft? Let's not let the other teams hear us, because we made an absolute steal. Sheldon Day, the guardian angel of the defensive line. Let's move on to the next unexpected hero, Sheldon Day. And I ask you, who expected a player added at the last minute to carry the team on his shoulders? No one. But Sheldon has not only responded, he has dominated. The injury to Jonathan Allen was a huge blow to the defense, no doubt about it. But what Sheldon has done to fill that gap, my goodness. Did you see the game against the Steelers in Week 10? Because that was Sheldon's show. An 89.9 rating from Pro Football Focus, 3 key stops against the run. This man didn't let even the wind pass by him. And here's the best part. He hasn't slowed down. Since that game, he has undergone a metamorphosis in his role on the line and is being critical in stopping the run and pressuring the passer. I tell you this, Sheldon Day is the perfect example of how to seize an opportunity. Did anyone think our defensive line would still be efficient after Allen's loss? Right? No one? Well, here we have it. Frankie Louvu, versatility made linebacker. Now, let's talk about a signing that is already paying dividends with interest. Frankie Louvu, the most complete linebacker we've had in a decade. And here's where I tell you, this man can't be real. How do you react to a player who can literally do everything? Man, at one moment he's pressuring the quarterback. In the next, he's reading the run like an open book, and then he's deflecting a pass. He's a beast. Look at the stats. 82 tackles, 26 pressures, 8 sacks, and 5 pass deflections in 13 games. This is no coincidence, gentlemen. Adam Peters did his homework bringing Luvu to the team, and Dan Quinn, well, he gave him a role we didn't even know we needed. Now I ask, is Frankie Luvu our Micah Parsons? I don't know, but every week it seems harder to deny that comparison. Chris Rodriguez Jr., the lion in the running rotation. Finally, let's talk about the guy coming out of the shadows to make a name for himself. Chris Rodriguez Jr. Gentlemen, this man was buried in the practice squad until the inevitable happened. An opportunity. Austin Eckler had a concussion and boom, Chris got his call. And how he took advantage of it against the Tennessee Titans. It was his third active game, but he played like it was the Super Bowl. And I ask you, is he the perfect future partner for Brian Robinson Jr.? Because it seems like he is. Rodriguez shows that he can be a physical bruiser that perfectly complements our other runners. With his attitude, energy, and physique, how can you not think he's going to stay in this rotation? I tell you this, if it were up to me, Chris Rodriguez already has a guaranteed spot on the 2025 roster as well. Gentlemen, this team is full of stories of overcoming, young talent, and brilliant moves by the front office. The table is set, and now I ask you, the fans of this team, which of these players do you think will be the most important to secure our playoff ticket? Is it St. Ristel with his defense, Day with his strength on the line, Luvu as the omnipresent wild card, or Rodriguez taking his place in the offense? Ladies and gentlemen, there is a name starting to resonate in Washington. And no, I'm not talking about Terry McLaurin nor Brian Robinson Jr. The name is Luke McCaffrey. Yes, the younger brother of Christian McCaffrey and the son of legend Ed McCaffrey. But listen to me well. This young man does not need to live in the shadow of his lineage because he has everything to light up the NFL. And I tell you this, his time is near. The path of McCaffrey, from quarterback to key receiver first. Let me tell you something. When the Commanders selected Luke McCaffrey in the third round of the 2024 draft, few of us were clear about what this kid could bring. Why? Because he had only played as a receiver for 2 years in college, just 2 years, after transitioning from the quarterback position at Rice. But you tell me, how many receivers manage a dominant senior season in such a short amount of experience? That tells you a lot about this kid's potential. Oh, and of course, he carries the winning DNA of his family. But here's the main issue. Has he managed to meet expectations so far? I answer you, not quite. But watch out, because this is just beginning. The numbers don't lie. Luke needs more opportunities. Yes, sure. Let's look at the cold numbers. 16 receptions for 155 yards in 13 games. That doesn't impress anyone. But now listen to this carefully, because numbers can be misleading if we don't analyze them thoroughly. Luke McCaffrey has been targeted in 20 passes and has caught 16 of them. That means he has a catch rate of 80%. Yes, 80%. When this kid touches the ball, he doesn't fail. Now here's my question. Why isn't Jaden Daniels, our flashy rookie quarterback, looking for McCaffrey more often? I tell you this, when a piece of the offense is this efficient, you have to use it. And I say this with all due respect to the coaching staff, but if you keep leaving talent like this in the freezer, you are wasting a golden opportunity. Oh, but there's more. According to data from Pro Football Focus, Luke McCaffrey is among the best in the league at creating separation. Only 4 players in the entire NFL separate from coverage more consistently than he does. Want a more exact figure? His separation percentage is an incredible 71.62%. In 74 routes, he has created separation in 53 of them. This is not speculation, these are facts. And if a receiver is constantly getting open, but you don't throw him the ball, whose fault is it? Is it Jaden Daniels still adjusting to the speed of the NFL game, or is it the offensive scheme? It is clear to me that McCaffrey has not received enough opportunities, but when he appears, he does so in key moments. Almost every reception of his has come in tight situations where the team needs a breather or to advance into critical territory. And this tells me something. Luke McCaffrey is reliable. He is that receiver you want when nerves are high, and you need to move the chains. Now, this kid is starting to build chemistry with Jaden Daniels. Let's understand something, folks. A rookie quarterback does not develop trust in his receivers overnight. But I assure you that if Daniels keeps throwing to McCaffrey in key situations, eventually that connection will flourish. It is a matter of time. And when that happens, do not be surprised if Luke McCaffrey ends up being not only the number 2 receiver behind Terry McLaurin, but a lethal weapon for this offense. Here comes the important part. If this team wants to be competitive in the playoffs, it has to unlock all the potential it has on the roster. We have focused too much on McLaurin's contributions, our runners, and T.E. Logan Thomas when we have him available. All that is fine, but having a young, dynamic, and efficient receiver like McCaffrey underutilized is practically a sin in the modern NFL. And I ask you, should we keep waiting for his moment, or should the coaching staff start designing plays specifically for him? Because one thing is clear, this kid gets open. He is there, ready to be a reception machine, but it's up to us to find ways to maximize his impact. Luke McCaffrey will not be a Pro Bowl receiver tomorrow, but I tell you this, if the Commanders truly want to aim for something big, they must start thinking of him as a key piece from now. We are seeing the foundations of a possible pillar in the offense. But if we keep waiting and do not involve him more in this final stretch of the season, how much potential will we be leaving on the table? This kid does not need his last name to define him. He has the talent, the statistics, and the work ethic to make his own name in this league. So, my question for you, Commanders fans, is this. How soon do you think Luke McCaffrey will become a star in this offense? Is it a matter of giving him time, or are we waiting too long for something we should already be taking advantage of? What is happening here, Washington Commanders? Are we letting our defensive stars be sniffed out by our most hated rivals, the Philadelphia Eagles? Because I tell you this, fans, this rumor of Dante Fowler Jr. leaving Washington to wear that horrible green of Philadelphia is the kind of nightmare we cannot afford to turn into reality. Listen to this clearly. We are in the bye week, preparing to close the season strong, and suddenly, boom, an analyst drops the bomb. According to Matt Holder of Bleacher Report, the Eagles have their eyes on one of our best pass rushers this season. We are not talking about someone in decline, no. We are talking about Dante Fowler Jr., the leader in sacks and an anchor in our defense. I ask you this seriously. Will we let one of our most valuable soldiers march directly to the enemy camp? Because I tell you right now, that would be a colossal mistake. Let's put this in perspective. GM Adam Peters took a smart approach this year by filling roster gaps with one-year contracts. And yes, I understand the logic. It was necessary to test veteran players while rebuilding with young guys like Jaden Daniels and Mike Sainristil. But one of those veterans who has been a real stroke of genius is Dante Fowler Jr. The man has 8.5 sacks, 11 tackles for loss, and 10 quarterback hits with 4 games still to play. That is production at its finest. Fowler has delivered, exceeded expectations, and honestly, has been simply essential to keeping this defense competitive. Let's not forget, Fowler didn't just appear in Washington out of nowhere. This man has history with Dan Quinn since Quinn coached him in Florida, drafted him in the NFL, and had him in 2 of his defenses. This is not just any player. He is the type of guy Quinn wants in his system. Someone who knows the scheme, lives it, and frankly, executes it phenomenally. Now I ask, how are you not already thinking about signing Fowler long-term, Adam Peters? Because what may seem like a logical short-term financial decision can turn into a strategic disaster in the long run. Let's speak clearly. The Eagles are not pretending to be contenders. This team is always looking for talent to maintain a terrifying pass rush, and the imminent retirement of Brandon Graham plus Josh Sweat's free agency opens a giant void in their defensive rotation. That's where Dante Fowler comes in, who would become an immediate solution for Philadelphia's coaching staff. And let's also look at Fowler's perspective here. He is 30 years old, 31 when the next season starts, and is at a stage in his career where he probably wants to maximize his income in his remaining years. The Eagles tend to pay well and have a reputation for being a team where defensive linemen thrive. So, if our front office doesn't give him the contract he has earned in Washington, does anyone doubt that Philadelphia will open their checkbook and sign this man in the blink of an eye? And you know what's the worst, Commanders Nation? That they are selling him to the enemy. Yes, to our division rival, the same team that has beaten us twice this year with Jalen Hurts and his high-flying offense. Imagine facing Dante Fowler next season, but this time with him chasing Jaden Daniels in a green jersey instead of burgundy. Does that sound like something we want? Of course not. I will say it bluntly because this is not about negotiating with fear, it's about smart strategy. Adam Peters has to move, and fast. These one-year contracts were a fantastic temporary solution, but when you find a player producing like Fowler, the next logical step is to secure his continuity. The key here is not just offering him a raise, but making him feel valued as a fundamental piece of the future. Dante Fowler is not just any pass rusher. He has proven to be the heart of our defensive pressure in 2024. In the short term, we don't have someone who can perform the role as effectively, especially considering that Montez Sweat is no longer on the team. Our pass rush relies heavily on players like Fowler to keep opposing quarterbacks in check, and losing him would be catastrophic. Some may argue, well, we can't spend everything on a 30-year-old player. But I tell you this, not spending on someone who has earned his place can cost you much more. Without Fowler, the pass rush loses a leader. The Eagles, or any other team, will gain a lethal weapon, and we will be left wondering what happened. Furthermore, it wouldn't just be a loss on the field. It would be a devastating message to the fan base. What kind of message do you send when you let a key piece of your defense sign with your divisional rival? I tell you something, that wouldn't just be a mistake. It would be fuel for the frustration of a fan base already tired of seeing productive players leave to succeed on other teams. Time is of the essence here, Commanders family. Dante Fowler Jr. is at his peak performance right now, and letting him go would not only weaken our defense but strengthen a direct divisional rival who doesn't need extra help. So, Adam Peters, Dan Quinn, listen to me well. Sign Fowler. Give him what he has earned on the field because we cannot afford to make such an obvious mistake. And now, fans, I ask you directly, are you willing to see Fowler in an Eagles jersey? Or will you demand that our team do what is necessary to keep that from happening? Washington Commanders fans, we know we are at a crucial moment in the season, and there are many important topics on the table. Here is the question for you. Which of these players do you think will be key to securing that playoff ticket? Sainristil and his relentless defense, Day and his dominance on the line, Luvu being the wild card that always shows up where needed most, or Rodriguez as that engine driving the offense? Let me know your opinion in the comments. On the other hand, we can't stop talking about the Luke McCaffrey phenomenon. What do you think, fans? Do you believe we are about to witness the rise of another star in our offense? Is it just a matter of time, or should we already be building an attack around his talent? We want to know what you think about it. You are the voice of this community. Finally, the million-dollar question arises. Can you really see Fowler wearing the Eagles' colors? Or more importantly, will you demand that our team do what is necessary to prevent that from happening? This is a topic that divides passions, so I read you in the comments to know your stance. Fans, this channel is more than just news. It is a family of passionate Commanders fans. So, if you want to be part of this community that lives and breathes its love for this team, I invite you to subscribe to the channel and join the conversation. Every opinion, every comment counts. Give it a like, activate the bell so you don't miss any details of the season, and share this video with other Commanders fans. And remember, hail to the Redskins!